This and all talks at the 2020 JavaScript for WordPress conference are brought to you in part by our sponsors Frontity and GoDaddy Pro. Frontity is the easiest way to create performant websites using WordPress and React. It connects both seamlessly so you can focus on building your site instead of all the tooling and configuration. Open source and free to use. GoDaddy Pro Hosting offers a robust suite of free tools to web developers and designers to help them save time managing all their clients and sites. Your free membership also includes advanced 24/7 technical support.
So hello everyone, once again. Today my topic is about blazing fast e-commerce with Gatsby, WordPress, and WooCommerce. You can follow me on Twitter at MuhsinLK, and yes, welcome to my talk. Let's talk about a little bit about me. My name is Muhammad Muhsin, and I am a senior React developer at Artican. We are a WordPress VIP agency from India and the US, and we have been working with large clients around the world, including Facebook, Google, and Al Jazeera. Personally, I like to take photographs, so I also like to walk and do exercises to keep myself physically fit. So this was taken a few days back at the coast. I live by the sea. It's about 3 kilometers drive. So when I was walking on a morning walk, I took this grab. I also like to spend time with my nephews, building with them. And I also like to read. I have written for Smashing Magazine, and have also worked with other companies, one of them being Simplier. Today, I'll be talking about a project that we work with, Simplier. So blazing fast e-commerce. So the reason is because we want, why do you think we need blazing fast e-commerce? Because we need, because faster means more money. Because in Amazon, they have done a test long ago, over 10 years ago. And when they saw even like 100 milliseconds of speed reduction caused them about 1% drop in sales or drop in income. So that is a huge amount of money that they lost when speed was reduced only slightly. So we can see the importance of having a very fast e-commerce site wherever the site is, and more speed equal to more money, and therefore the bottom line increases. And when a company chooses a particular technology, one of the main things they see is how much money they can earn from that technology, and also how much money they can save from that technology. So when these two are combined, it makes for a win-win situation for choosing a technology. So this is a case study last year that I was really interested in. Flamingo, which is part of Harry's, chose Gatsby for their e-commerce launch, and then they five times faster page loads, which led to them. So not only that, they also saw so many other benefits of choosing Gatsby for their e-commerce site. So that got me really interested, because I am a WordPress enthusiast, and got me thinking, like, how will it be when we choose Gatsby at the front end and choose WooCommerce at the back end? How will that work out to be? So that was, so I'll be talking about that in a while. So why would you, first of all, consider Gatsby for your front-end framework? So blazing fast by default, like Gatsby is, I don't think I don't have to introduce Gatsby as being fast, because everyone knows by now that Gatsby is blazing fast. And the main thing I want to highlight is that performance is not an afterthought for Gatsby. They think about performance right from the start. So when you start with a Gatsby site, and you actually get 100%, across the lighthouse scoreboard. So it's not like an afterthought like some of the other frameworks. And not just fast, because it's static files, it's also very secure. I have talked about it at past conferences. And also it's very cheap, meaning it's free actually. It's free to use, and it's also open source. And also they are very much encouraging of open source developers and contributions from the community. Gatsby has a great developer experience and tooling. It's a pleasure to write with Gatsby. It tells you to make your site accessible, for example. and it gives you very useful error messages, making the whole developer experience fantastic and a pleasure to develop with. Yeah, Gatsby promoted the content mesh when they started. The meaning here is that the Gatsby is one framework, and it can pull data from almost any API. It can pull from a Google Sheet to a Markdown file and flat files, a database, or even REST API and GraphQL API. Yes, I want to point out that GraphQL is the most preferred layer, because all the data that is coming, it's actually converted to a GraphQL schema for you to be able to query in a very versatile manner. Gatsby is very easy to get started, and also it helps you to learn React and GraphQL quickly. When someone asks me, how should I get into React? How should I get into GraphQL? I tell them, okay, get started with Gatsby, because Gatsby helps you to actually learn these really well in a short period of time. So, and actually, it's actually fun. When you start using Gatsby, you will realize how fun it is. And yeah, I spoke about it earlier as well. You get the perfect lighthouse. What does perfect lighthouse means? It's optimized for SEO, it's optimized for accessibility, and it's optimized for progressive web apps. So with Gatsby, these things are actually there by default. You don't have to spend hours trying to perfect these things. Okay. Okay. Now we saw why Gatsby. Let's see why WooCommerce. I don't think I have to introduce WordPress to you, because like we all love WordPress so much that it is somewhat like our default operating system for the web. So I will directly go to WooCommerce. And why would you consider WooCommerce? With WooCommerce, you have complete control over your store, like as opposed to another e-commerce framework or a e-commerce provider. With WooCommerce, you have your store, and you can add multiple types of products, and these products can be customized to your desire, basically. So you can have multiple options and custom fields and all types of things to make your store truly unique and truly yours. It's very popular. If you see this stat from builtwith.com, 42% of all stores online are running WooCommerce. That's a lot of stores. Okay. So with Gatsby, with WooCommerce, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. When someone comes for a project inquiry and asks, let's do a store, and they want to build from scratch, what they don't realize is thousands and thousands of hours have been put into building WooCommerce as one of the most sophisticated yet simple e-commerce software. And we can just use, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. You already have the wheel, so we can use the wheel to your heart's desire. It's also free and open source, and it also has paid add-ons if you want to have specific functionality. And again, it's also easy to get started. Actually, it's very simple to get started. You can either go a custom store route with a custom hosting, or you can use automatics hosting and get your store up and running. But in this, we'll use a custom store. So we saw why would you consider Gatsby, and we also saw why would you consider WooCommerce. But why would you want to combine both and use it for your store? First of all, the integrations. Gatsby and WooCommerce together can give you great integrations. For example, you can have multiple types of products, and also you can have different types of post types that are coming from WordPress. For example, in the example I'm going to show you, there are classes or events, so to say. So these events are coming from another plugin other than WooCommerce, which is installed for WordPress. So once we have a glue, basically, to have those events inside of Gatsby, we can make use of events calendar built into Gatsby. So that is one example. And also you can have very sophisticated things like Algolia search, for example, if you want to have very fast instantaneous searching. And again, it's reliable. It's one thing is it's secure because it's very hard to hack it, and it's also reliable because you can have CDNs and also offline capabilities for it to withstand high traffic coming from multiple users at the same time, because most of it is static and parts of it are only dynamic. It is also high in performance, and it's very fast. Actually, Gatsby is known to be fast, so this combination where we are optimizing the store for Gatsby, the Gatsby site, to be fast on production will almost always be faster than a traditional WordPress site. Yeah, and I really like this photo from Unsplash. And it's also scalable because it's fast and it's also static files. You can also have multiple users concurrently at the same time, in almost endlessly, because the server will rarely crash because there is no there is no server hitting the database every time you visit the site. So the database is not strangled every time the site is being visited. And it's also fun. I think that is one of the reasons developers like to use this stack. But that should not be the only reason. Like, you can try it out with this, but only if it makes business sense. You should go for this stack. If it does not make business sense, i.e., if it does not increase your profits, or if it does not decrease your losses, then you should not do it just because it's fun. Yeah, so Gatsby is on the shoulders of giants like React and GraphQL. So what is React? I have told about React in past talks, but now, like, I think you don't need a huge introduction for React. So let me finish off the introduction by saying React is like goes for adults, because React is actually such fun to use and build with, so that it can be actually almost like playing. So you can start off by building small things, like my Nabi has built a small airplane, and you can scale your experience and skills up to building an actual drone that flies using Lego. I actually saw a YouTube video that person builds a drone. And GraphQL is an API where you ask for what you need and you get exactly that. So this is from the GraphQL side. It's an alternative to the REST API and a single endpoint, and you get as much data you want in a single request, as opposed to REST API where you have to query every endpoint for each specific data. An example I have given earlier is that when you want author details along with the post detail and also the featured image, that's easily 3 requests, which can be done in 1 request using GraphQL, which is also good for electricity. It saves you electricity, and it's good for the planet. Yeah, it's created by Facebook, and it's open source. Gatsby and WordPress are a better love story than Twilight. And it's powered by GraphQL for our convenience, and it's glued with the software. So the 3 wins. Why would you use this stack? Why don't you just use WordPress and call it a day? Why would you consider this? So the drawback here is that it may be more complex, but let me talk about the positives. So there are 3 wins here for us. First of all, it gives a fantastic editor, which is Gutenberg, for an amazing writing experience. So I think most of you, or if not all of you, love WordPress. So you are still able to use WordPress and the favorite Gutenberg editor that almost all of us like to write in. So we are not missing that experience when we move to Gatsby. We are having that experience, and then on top of that, we are having a great developer experience with the modern tools like React and GraphQL. Those who love JavaScript and the front-end frameworks almost always say they love React. So you're able to use all these amazing technologies while having the experience of a 15-year-old software, which is WordPress. So I think that is pretty amazing, being able to write the content in WordPress, but still develop the template in Gatsby or React and GraphQL. So you are giving 2 wins now. already. It's a win-win situation already. But the third win is it's blazing fast site for the user. So the first is content creators. It's as a content creator, you're able to get the amazing benefits of writing in WordPress. And the second benefit is as a developer, you're able to use the modern development stack, which is React and GraphQL. And the third win is that as a user, you are able to get a blazing fast website, which is a pleasure to read and a pleasure to work with, pleasure to experience. So let's talk about WP GraphQL. WP GraphQL or WordPress GraphQL exposes your WordPress data as GraphQL schema. It's created by Jason Ball, and the development is now sponsored by Gatsby. Yes, by the way, Gatsby is heavily invested in WordPress as a capable CMS for their framework. For example, if you look at the Apollo blog, it is actually using WordPress at the backend and Gatsby at the front end, powered by WP GraphQL, which is a huge win as a case study for us. Extendable via WordPress plugins, because WP GraphQL core will only give the core functionalities of WordPress. But if you would like a custom plugin or a third-party plugin to have GraphQL capabilities, you have to create a plugin for it. One of them being WooGraphQL, which we will touch on in a minute. So WP GraphQL and Gatsby, how would you use it? For that, you install WP GraphQL plugin in WordPress, and you install the Gatsby source WordPress plugin in Gatsby. And also you need WP Gatsby, which we will teach, which we will talk about during the end of the talk. So let's talk about the main part of the talk. So it's a case study from one of my clients. So right while I was thinking about Flamingo, which I spoke about earlier, that's the time I was thinking about it would be awesome if we can have WooCommerce with Gatsby. That's the exact moment that client Craig Wilcox from Simplier reached out to us. He's based in Denver. So we were excited to try this stack. So this case study is what I'm going to talk about next. So the background of the story is that there has been an e-commerce store selling sewing machines and also having sewing classes for a long time, and they wanted to increase their speed of the site, and they were considering Gatsby. And that's when Craig reached out to us to work with us. So this site has Gatsby at the front end, so that we can, the templating is all done in Gatsby. And it has WordPress and WooCommerce at the backend. And we all spoke about how WordPress is awesome, WooCommerce is awesome. So now WooGraphQL is a plugin created by Jeff Taylor, who is part of the WP GraphQL and Gatsby community. He has done an amazing job creating this plugin that will allow us to query WooCommerce data into Gatsby or any front end. I actually spoke about WooGraphQL with Next.js at the last JS for WP conference talk. If you can go to YouTube, you can see that as well. So today we are talking about Gatsby with WP GraphQL and WooGraphQL. So these go well together. You have to have, first of all, WP GraphQL and install WooGraphQL to have the WooCommerce data in your Gatsby site. So there is events calendar, because like I mentioned earlier, this particular store was also selling sewing machines, plus also having sewing classes for students who wanted to learn sewing. So they had sewing classes, which was already using Events Calendar Pro plugin from WordPress. So with help from Jeff Taylor, we wrote the QL events plugin. So there's an events calendar plugin for WordPress. As you can see, it's a well-known plugin. So we wrote, as part of the project, Jeff Taylor wrote a plugin called QL Events that is used for querying data from the Events Calendar Pro plugin and to be used inside of Gatsby, which has served us really well in our projects. So let me get back. Okay, so Events Calendar Pro is an existing WordPress plugin, and QL Events is created by Jeff to query from Events Calendar Pro to create a beautiful calendar like this for having all of our events. And we used Stripe Checkout, which is a new feature from Stripe, where you show the data in, you send the data to Stripe Checkout, and then you process the checkout on the Stripe's end, because that has fraud protection. And there are like lots of benefits when we use Stripe Checkout as opposed to writing our own checkout form and so on. So we don't have to worry about writing the credit card collection form or processing credit card information, and it solved a lot of headache for us and also for the client. And we use Simplify Lambda functions, because when you use any type of backend code, we have to have a Lambda function. For example, the Stripe checkout feature was handled from Gatsby as using a Netlify Lambda function. So when the user comes and buys a product, it will be processed through this. So we did search using Algolia because we wanted to have instant searching. So that is again a deeper topic. So on the surface level, we are sending the data to Algolia and indexing it there. And when the user puts in the search term, it is searched from the index, and the slug comes in, and we are taking the user to the page. So it's demo time. Okay, so this is a video I recorded earlier. So I'm going to play it, and I will talk about it. I will talk about what you're saying. So this is a list of featured products on the site, and this site is not live, by the way. So I will not I will not be sharing a live URL just yet, because it's still a work in progress. It's been several months in the works, and so it's quite complex in terms of the functionalities that were done for it, like the Google Maps API. And the whole experience is very fast, especially as you are moving from page to page. This is the events sewing classes page. So if you can see here, you can see all the different classes on a calendar. So this is an events calendar where we are fetching the data from QL events and showing it in Gatsby. So these are all the products. And this can also, the calendar can be filtered, and it's also good for SEO, because each of the calendar months and each of the calendar filters are actually a URL. And I believe it's good for SEO, where the user can be coming straight to the events on a particular month. And these are all the products that the store is selling. The styles are not fantastic, but it's still a work in progress. So we're working on improving the styles here. So the images are lazily loaded here, and maybe we can consider using Gatsby image for it. Yeah, we are considering. And yeah, so these are the featured images, featured products actually. And yeah, these are another category of products. Again, some more products that helps with sewing. And this is the blog page. This is a single blog post with a video in it. I think these can be better formatted and better styled, but we actually first of all focused on the functionality of the site. And let's go into a particular product and add it to the cart and check out. Yeah, and this is the product information or description before buying the product, but we already added to the cart. So if you want to, you can go through the product gallery. It uses React Gallery. Yeah, and there's a product video if the user wants to check out the featured video of the product. And let's go to the cart page. And this product is in cart. And let's check out. Fill in the checkout details. John Doe. Yeah, and let's change the email address to my email address. Yeah, this will take you to, after your shipping is done, this will take you to the Stripe checkout. This will redirect the site to Stripe checkout, and we are using Netlify Lambda functions for the redirection and the processing of the payments. And once the charge is made to the cart, it will be sent from Stripe that the card has been charged and the payment has been processed successfully. And once the payment has been processed successfully, it will return to the Netlify Lambda, and then Lambda will process the order and send the order via GraphQL to WooCommerce. So that is what's happening here. So the sewing machine. So this happens on the fly. The data comes from Gatsby to the Netlify Lambda on the fly. And the order has been received successfully. And again, the thank you page has to be redesigned. So now let's see how we can add a sewing class to the, sign up to a sewing class, add a sewing class to the cart. Checkout. And here we are not asked the full details. We only asked some of the details that is required to process the sewing class attendees information. So again, this is sent to the Stripe checkout to the class on July 14th is sent to Stripe checkout, and again we enter the card details, and the card details and the class is processed after that. Again, the order is received, and yeah, just quickly we'll go through searching. So you can see how fast the search results are, and that is Algolia. That search was powered by Algolia, where we index all the data in Algolia server and then query from Algolia using the Algolia libraries for React. Yeah, this is the Singer sewing machine, and more details about Singer here. Those are the key features that I want to show you. Yeah, so let's get back to the talk. Okay, demo time over. So this is Gatsby-WooCommerce theme by my colleague Sagar Naseed. This is not related to the demo that we saw, but if you're interested in this stack and you want to try out this stack, please check out this project from Sagar. It's on GitHub. You can check out his theme and his demo. You can see the card. He has built all this. Kudos to Sagar for this open source project. You can also check out this theme, and he has done some good work with this. Cool. So let's continue. Yeah, so what are the lessons I learned from using Gatsby? Is once I started using, I saw there are many reasons to love the Gatsby framework, because now we had an argument about content not being available immediately, but with the introduction of Gatsby Source WordPress version 4, that problem is solved, and you can use Gatsby Cloud for it. And also incremental builds are there for WordPress now. Yay. And WordPress plugins can also be coded to work with Gatsby via GraphQL extensions. Yes, offline e-commerce. This is something that we have been talking about at Articamp, where you can have an e-commerce store, which is actually a progressive web application and which works offline, and where the user is presented the site when he has or when he or she has internet connection, and the whole site is downloaded to them using service workers. And maybe they can sync, maybe they can make the order offline, like browse through the different product catalog and make an order while they are offline. And once they get back online, that order is then sent to the server to be processed. So this will make e-commerce accessible to those who do not have internet, among the next billion users who will be getting onto the internet soon. So like as a starting point, this offline e-commerce is a great concept to build upon. So what I showed now with Gatsby can be expanded to work with offline, and with offline e-commerce, we can achieve great things where we are giving e-commerce functionality to more people around the world. What we covered. So we spoke about why we should consider fast e-commerce. It'll be beneficial for the user, aka the Amazon example that we saw, and also to the user, and also to Amazon, like big companies like Amazon, and also Amazon e-commerce companies that are innovative to consider fast e-commerce stores. We spoke about WordPress with Gatsby. We spoke about WP GraphQL, WooGraphQL. We spoke about a small case study with an example and a demo. And yeah, we spoke about the future, which is offline e-commerce, which may happen hopefully soon. Let us spread the goodness of WordPress and Gatsby. And yes, we are on time to see this launch of WP Gatsby, and which is one of the cutest wappos. I like my favorite wappo, perhaps. Yeah, and Hashim Warren has written an article about using headless WordPress with Gatsby Cloud, and Jason and Tyler spoke about what they have been cooking up at Gatsby, which is really cool stuff. You should definitely check these things out. Yeah, and I also have a small side project where I'm listing all the resources that you can do, that you can use to get started on decoupled WordPress journey. It's not just with Gatsby, but also Next.js or plain React, or even if you want to have decoupled WordPress, not a decouple, but if you want to have REST API as a data source within WordPress, or GraphQL as a data source within WordPress. I will be compiling more things on this blog. So check this out. And yes, thanks for having me today. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And Articamp is hiring, as always. We are looking for WordPress engineers. So if you are interested, you can contact me, or you can go to rt.camp/join to, yes, work with me. So welcome. Yes, again, you can follow me on Twitter at MuhsinLK. And yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful talk, Muhammad. That was very interesting. I learned new things there.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
So we have one question here.
Yeah,
this
sure.
person is asking, are the used metadata delivered to the Gatsby-WordPress source plugin?
That is correct. I will share a link to a video where you can see, actually in my example, also it is being done. But if you can use the next version of, I'm sharing a video. In that version, that is the version 4 of the Gatsby source WordPress experimental, which is what Jason and Tyler have been working on. So if you go to that video, you can see them using Yoast for that. Yeah, it works.
Awesome. Thank you. Maria, hope you got that answer. Yeah, and for me, I think what was interesting is the part where you mentioned that you could have offline
Yeah. Yes.
offline site, offline WooCommerce site. Like that's
Yeah.
interesting. That would be helpful for places where internet is sketchy or
Yeah, that is correct. So we have been discussing this with at Articamp, where we can have like service workers, having working offline. So the user can add the items to the cart, and maybe even make the process of the checkout, but it's not synced until they move to a place where they can have internet access. So this is something really aspirational that we can maybe achieve, at a big scale, hopefully very soon.
awesome. If any other person has any more questions for Muhammad, I think you can still be here with us for the next 4 minutes and they'll be happy to answer those questions. You can also follow him on Twitter. I'll put the link to his Twitter profile in the comments for those that want to do that.
Yeah, there is one more question, I guess. So you can follow me on Twitter. I have just shared the link. How do you solve the ability to edit with Gutenberg and assign styling, and the way the Gatsby team handles style? So yes, good question, Mary. What I do is I copy the Gutenberg styles into Gatsby. So I'm able to see all the Gutenberg stuff as the folks at Automatic, like the WordPress folks. WordPress folks want us to see the styling. Like Gutenberg styling can actually be done in Gatsby, because you just copy the CSS and paste it, use it inside your Gatsby site.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that.
Thank you.
Great. And I think for me, another thing that I picked from your talk was when you mentioned that, you know, how people would want like custom built solutions instead of leveraging on existing softwares, because it takes really hours and a lot of manpower and financial power to build softwares. So if you
Exactly.
can leverage on them, why not do that instead of going to build something afresh and then reinventing the wheel all over again?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. We can make use of like the hours and hours, like thousands and thousands of hours that has been already been put to WooCommerce, and just use it, and maybe build on it, make it even faster, maybe using decoupled solutions. Yes, even decoupled solution is costly. It's not cheap. Like it's much costlier than having a standard WooCommerce store. Like you can set up a standard WooCommerce store for free, but this takes much more effort and much more work to achieve than a standard WooCommerce site. But still, it's better than starting everything from scratch. Yeah, you're right, Mary. That's correct. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.